Welcome to the State of the Pike. We are so excited to have you with us today. We know you could be in a lot of different places, so we appreciate the fact that you have spent time and effort to join us. We are coming to you today live from the Black Heritage Museum of Arlington. The Columbia Pike Partnership shares this space through COVID with the Black Heritage Museum of Arlington. If you look here, you will see the display on Freedmen's Village and our display on the lunch counter sit-ins. There is so much history and so much legacy right here in these walls, but also on Columbia Pike and here in Arlington. Before we continue with the rest of the program, I do want to recognize our elected officials who have joined us today. We really appreciate your leadership. We appreciate you being here with us today. Takas Karantanis, Libby Garvey, Matt DiFerranti, and also we want to recognize our partners from National Landing who are here with us today as well. So why are we here today? My name is Kim Klingler. I am the Executive Director of the Columbia Pike Partnership. And we, along with Adam Henderson, who's the Chair of the Pike Presidents Group, and our Board Chair, John Snyder, have decided that we want to create something that is evergreen. Something that can be done every single year, no matter who is in charge at the partnership, who is in charge of the Pike Presidents Group, or who is in charge of the various departments throughout the county. We want to make sure that this is a gift to the residents and the businesses here on Columbia Pike so that we are all on the same page and we are all excited and marching in the same direction. As I mentioned, the Columbia Pike Partnership is here to serve our businesses and our residents. And we're really about bringing communities together. We're one of the most diverse places in Northern Virginia and in the region. And we really want to share and sustain and maintain that diversity. And that is why we are here today. So today's lineup, we have a stacked agenda for you today. We have 6 different areas from the county who are each going to give a 5-minute presentation, and they have practice and they are going to hold themselves to it. So you're going to get a lot of information in a little over 30 minutes. But then you're going to have an opportunity to go into breakout sessions. Let's say you heard something from BizLaunch that you wanted to learn more about, or from transit, or from housing, or from Parks and Recs, or from Arlington Arts or State Arlington. You will have the opportunity after they initially speak to go into breakout rooms. And we really do hope that you will join us for those breakout rooms, and you may jump between breakout rooms as well. Just a few housekeeping reminders before we continue on with our program today. Please stay on mute so the speakers can be heard. Please use the chat function for comments and questions. If you look at the red arrow, that can be found at the bottom of your screen. We will try to record those questions during the actual main presentation, but we also ask you to jot them down so you can ask them during the breakout sessions. That's when the questions will be heard. And all presentations and recordings will be made available maybe a week or 2 following today's event. So we really appreciate you joining us and your patience. Partnerships for the Pike. We would not be here today doing the State of the Pike if it wasn't for our partners. We have partners all up and down the Pike, but we also have partners with the county, with the region, because Columbia Pike is such a diverse and vibrant and unique and eclectic place, and we can only do that through partnerships. And now it is one of my distinct honors to introduce one of our partners who we have worked so closely with before COVID and especially during COVID. Please welcome Tara Palacios, the Director of BizLaunch.
Thank you so much, Kim. And it's great to be here at the State of the Pike, the very first one, on behalf of Telly Tucker, our Director of Arlington Economic Development, and myself. We are very honored to be with you all today to talk about different initiatives that we've been working on the last, oh my gosh, several years. We have such a great relationship and we enjoy working with our friends at the Columbia Pike Partnership. On behalf of Telly, I would say from an economic development standpoint, the information from the commercial market study that was found, we're continuing to move forward with that. And we're really excited. You'll be hearing from different folks from throughout the county where these initiatives are being implemented and they're happening. And we're going forward in our work based on information that we've received and to make sure that it's a vibrant community for its citizens, but also for the businesses that decide to be on the Pike. So with that, I will jump into some of my formal comments about some of that work that we've been doing. I'm really pleased to be part of BizLaunch, which is our small business program, which does outreach and work to make sure that our small businesses have the ability to survive and thrive no matter what happens, whether you're in the middle of a pandemic, whether there are different opportunities that are going on. We will work with these businesses to make sure that they're building sustainability for the community. And so I want to share and introduce to you all a little bit about the BizLaunch team. And it'll also give you a sneak peek of some of the businesses that we've been able to be fortunate to work with. Hi, I'm Tara Palacios, the director of the BizLaunch team. We're the ones to help you start and grow your small business. We're here to help you with a business plan, working on your website, as well as navigating the system to open up your business successfully in Arlington. We like to consider ourselves as the biz superheroes. Why, you might ask? Well, let's ask those heroes themselves.
Hey there, I'm Alex from BizLaunch, and my superpower is content creation. I'm the guy that you need to come to help you build up that online presence. And it's a superpower I use to help Rena develop a full-fledged website for her small business right here in Arlington.
I'm Lourdes Morales, and my superpower is the passion to empower people with the tools and knowledge they need. I'm here as a contact for Spanish-speaking entrepreneurs to help them through the process to achieve business success. Estoy feliz de poder apoyar a su pequeño negocio.
Hi, my name's Prakriti and my superpower is design. I love using my superpower to showcase small businesses on social media, and I also love using my superpower to help small businesses expand their audience by using super cool social media tools like templates, images, and videos, like TikTok, of course.
Hey there, my name is Yakin, and to me the biggest superpower is networking and human connection. I love to be able to use that superpower to connect with local businesses and connect them with each other. After all, it's those connections that help us to build a stronger business community.
And I'm Tara, your fearless leader for these amazing business superheroes. We're all here to help make sure that you become the real hero in your small business world. Because that's why BizLaunch is here, giving you the superpowers you need to succeed right here in Arlington. Yay. So this gives you a little flavor of the people that are behind the program in order to help our small businesses that are here on the Pike. And so with that, we have the pleasure of having additional funds from the Rescue Act to do a program that we're calling Relaunch. And Relaunch is a program where businesses can receive technical assistance to help them with their strategic planning, as well as actually developing websites and e-commerce sites through our partnerships with the Amazon Web Services. So we're really excited about this program because it's something that it's not just an idea, it's not just training where we're saying, okay, you need to know about X and Y. It really is about rolling up the shirt sleeves and changing how we do business in order to make it impactful. So since the program started, we had 185 applications. And the largest number of those applications were from businesses on the Pike, which is so super exciting for us. The businesses expressed that they wanted assistance in marketing and branding, access to capital, creating a digital strategy, doing things to make sure that they can compete in 2022. The industries that we saw the most from our relaunch program so far, and this program is run from April 21 until today, food services, retail, and professional services. So we're really hitting a wide berth of folks that are located on the Pike. And I wanted to show, not only talk about it, but actually show these websites. So our friends at Los Chamacos, you know, they just started on the Pike within the last year. They've taken advantage of the program. We also have Rincon Thai Cuisine, where they now have full control of their website and they can update menus and such real time. And then we also have Beauty Fair. And so she now has a presence. She has a website, which she didn't have before. She had Facebook and social media, Instagram, but now she has a website. So we're really excited. So if you want to see what services she offers, to meet the team, it's all right there in one spot for her. So we're really excited about that. We also wanted to share, everyone, we stood up another grant this past year, Grant 2.0, and we wanted to share with you all the results. We had 529 applications. Of those, 433 came through. They were who they were. All that information was accurate. 357, unfortunately, were ineligible. Maybe they were home-based or they received federal funding, and we were able to award 76 grantees. And then of that, I wanted to drill down even more to Columbia Pike. So how did the Pike do with the county's Grant 2.0? They actually put in 85 applications. They were received. 66, or about 78% of them, were ineligible, which gives you those percentages. And the ineligibility was because it's either they received federal funds or because they were home-based. But of the businesses that we were able to fund, and you'll see this in the next slide, we were able to have 19 grantees out of this pot of 76. So it's still a majority of folks were from the Pike, and 74% of them were woman-owned or minority-owned businesses, which is so satisfying to see that we have a very diverse pool of people that were able to receive the grant. The industries reflect what we've been seeing with relaunch, restaurant, food service, retail, and personal services. So we're seeing trends. We're seeing that these are the industries that really need a lot of the help, and they have been very, very deeply impacted by the pandemic. But really excited about the work that we've been doing with our folks on the Pike. The use of the funds, this is also very interesting. So with the money, we did some reporting recently out. 60% of the funds were used for rent, which is a little bit higher than average for the rest of Arlington. It was about 50%, 23% payroll employees, and 4% equipment and supplies. So you can really get a sense of the need, that there continues to still be a need for access to capital and assistance in making sure that we're strengthening our small businesses. So thank you all so much for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to the breakout sessions in a few.
Next, we want to introduce you to our partners in transit and DES and multimodal. So a warm welcome to Mike Moon, who is the Chief Operating Officer, and Dennis Leach, who is the Deputy Director of Transportation. We are now going to join their presentation, which is currently in progress.
This was the result of many years of coordination between ourselves, VDOT, Arlington National Cemetery, and Eastern Federal Lands Highway. It will lead to completely new infrastructure on the East End, including upgraded sidewalks, bike facilities, streetscape, lighting, and a new entrance to Arlington National Cemetery. We have negotiated with Eastern Federal Lands to make sure that multimodal access, that's access for vehicles, buses, pedestrians, and cyclists, is preserved for the full duration of this construction. Next slide. Just the image of the Integra Shelters. These are in production. We're really excited to see these deployed later this spring, early summer, which feature real-time information, stainless steel construction, and ample seating. Next slide. And this is the next steps for the premium transit network. We did our first phase of restructuring in 2018 that restructured the 16G and H. The next phase is all scheduled for spring 2023. That is when we introduce the connection from Skyline all the way to Crystal City and serving the Amazon headquarters. That will also include expanded art service in the neighborhoods on either side of Columbia Pike. Next slide. Our transit stations incorporate public art. This is a partnership between ourselves and the Public Art Group and AED. It will feature the artist Spencer Finch, and this will be film that will be applied to the glass roofs of each of the transit stations, the first 8. And then there's a separate public art project marking the gateway to Columbia Pike from Fairfax County at the intersection with Jefferson Street. The Multimodal Streets project provided the location, and the art is being installed now. Next slide. And so upcoming milestones. Early 2022, we'll be continuing to provide updates on our progress. I'm really happy to report on this next bullet. For both segment F and segment A, those construction packages are out on the street for bids. And that happened this afternoon. So that is real progress. We expect bids to come in later this spring, and hopefully construction starting on those next 2 segments this summer. And then again, transit stations, the delivery of the first 8 stations will be made late spring and installation in early summer. Next slide. And then finally, the county is considering the purchase of 3108 Columbia Pike. That is also known as the SunTrust Building or the Truist Building. It is on the south side of Columbia Pike. This is on the county board agenda of Saturday, February 12th. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much, Dennis, and thank you, Mike. That is a lot to squeeze into 5 minutes and 30 seconds, so we really do appreciate it. Again, we really asked for all of these groups to do really something very challenging and fit everything that they've done for the Pike and everything they plan to do for the Pike in a 5-minute summary. So if you want to learn more, please join their breakout sessions. And next up, we have Ebony Damas, an associate planner with CPHD, and Ann Venecia, the housing director, to tell us what's going on with a CPHD Housing and Development on the Pike. Ladies.
Thank you, Kim. Next slide, please. And I will tell you what's going on. So hello, everyone. It's great to see so many people here today. I am Ebony from the county's planning division, and I first want to show this map of the 2 Columbia Pike form-based code revitalization districts. I'm sharing this because you may hear this term form-based code a few times today, and hopefully this provides some general awareness of where the 2 districts are enacted. And some of you were very involved in the creation of the codes, and some community members here today are also involved in reviewing form-based code development applications. Next slide, please. So one such form-based code application, the Elliott, will be voted on by the county board at their meeting next Tuesday evening. This application is a redevelopment of the Fillmore Garden Shopping Center, close to the intersection of Columbia Pike and Walter Reed. Some of the highlights of this application includes the construction of a new public rear alley, a new public segment of South Cleveland Street, public sidewalk improvements, and an interim public park that will be the second phase of the Penrose Square Plaza, which our colleagues from Parks and Rec will discuss in a little bit more detail in a few minutes. Next slide, please. And lastly, I want to highlight the Planning Division's recent work to remove barriers for small and local businesses who may want to locate on Columbia Pike. Last November, as AED mentioned earlier, the County Board approved a zoning ordinance amendment that expanded the type of uses that can operate on Columbia Pike. Commercial spaces, both new buildings and longstanding commercial properties, can now rent to businesses that have traditionally been relegated to light industrial areas such as breweries, maker spaces, and the like, and businesses such as professional offices and art galleries are now able to get their certificate of occupancy without having to first go to the county board for approval. And so if you want to know more about these topics, please come join us in our room, and I'll turn it over to Ann from Housing.
Thanks, Ebony. My name is Ann Venecia, and I'm the Housing Director for Arlington County. And I'd like to start our overview of housing along the Pike by talking about Barcroft Apartments, which Jim mentioned earlier. So many of you probably heard that Barcroft Apartments was sold to Jair Lynch on December 29th. And this followed a very competitive bidding process in the private market that was conducted by the previous owner. And after being selected as the purchaser, Gyre Lynch asked the county and also Amazon to participate in the acquisition as lenders to help enable long-term affordability of the Barcroft units. In return for the county and Amazon resources, Gyre Lynch has committed to providing 1,334 affordable units at the property for 99 years. And in addition, the Columbia Pike Neighborhoods Area Plan, adopted in July of 2012, represents the county's adopted policy, guiding preservation and revitalization of the residential neighborhoods along the Pike. Specifically, the Neighborhoods Area Plan identified Barcroft as one of 2 conservation areas due to the property's significant amounts of affordable housing, open spaces, mature trees, and its historic designation as essential. Further, the Neighborhoods Area Plan established the goal of preserving 100% of the 6,200 market rate affordable units existing at the time along the Columbia Pike corridor, and Barcroft Apartments reflect over 20% of this preservation goal. In addition to the Neighborhoods Area Plan, this acquisition supports many of the goals in the county's Affordable Housing Master Plan, furthers several Housing Arlington initiatives, and demonstrates the county's commitment to equity. Next slide. So taking a step back, I'm hoping now to provide a broader look in terms of current rental market conditions. So Columbia Pike rents were less impacted by COVID and continue to provide more affordable living options compared to the county in general. So while year-over-year rent changes are high, this is due to the dip during the peak impacts of COVID-19 on the rental market. Annualized rent increases are actually under 3%. And vacancy rates in the Columbia Pike corridor have returned to pre-pandemic levels and indicate a relatively tight housing market. Next slide. There are 2 types of rental units shown in this pie chart: market rate units and committed affordable units. And of the total of 11,000 plus units, approximately 1/3 are now committed affordable. And this share is largely due to the Barcroft acquisition, which I mentioned a moment ago, which shifted units from the market share to the committed affordable share. And the chart also helps illustrate the relative affordability of rental options along Columbia Pike. Next slide. And I'd like to wrap up today with a brief look at homeownership along the Pike. So overall production of ownership units has been low in comparison to rental units countywide over the last decade. And as a result of this countywide trend, average sales prices have been rising and homeownership is becoming increasingly out of reach for a lot of Arlingtonians. So while most of the county's housing affordability efforts focus on rental housing, we do have some affordable ownership units in our portfolio as well. And so an example of this along Columbia Pike is the Axamite Village project, which has 4 affordable dwelling units. These units are required to be affordable at 80% of the area median income and can only be sold to a buyer with a household income below 80% AMI. And so as Ebony said, if you'd like to hear more about these topics, we hope to see you in the breakout room. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you, Ebony. Again, these ladies have been extremely busy, so we really appreciate you joining us today and sharing, and please feel free to join them in the breakout as well. Next up, we have Department of Parks and Recs with Jennifer Fioretti and Jane Rudolph. Ladies.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon. So I'm Jennifer Fioretti, Deputy Director.
Jennifer, you're muted.
Thank you. And so I'm also joined here today by our Director of Department of Parks and Recreation, Jane Rudolph, who will be participating in the breakout room. If the last 2 years have shown us anything, next slide, it's the importance of parks and recreation in our community. They support mental and physical well-being, provide green spaces to help us mitigate climate impacts, and have played an essential role during the pandemic. Consider for a moment that within months of Virginia's first stay-at-home directive, we saw a 46% increase in trail use. And with the increase in demand for services and spaces, we've pivoted, offering programs in the park, virtual programming, testing and vaccination in centers and public spaces, as well as meal delivery for at-risk seniors who participate in our Social 60 Cafe. Next slide. Our amazing public spaces support our diverse community in so many ways. Thank you. One of the reasons why Arlington is consistently ranked fourth best park system in the county is because of the breadth of amenities our community has access to. We've got 99% of our community can walk to a park in less than 10 minutes. And within the 10 neighborhoods that border the Pike, we have 5 community centers alone. Next slide, please. One of our neighborhood jewels is the Arlington Mill Community Center. Located directly on the Pike, this facility offers a place for people of all ages and abilities to come together to learn, work, and play. And during the pandemic, it served a critical role as a COVID testing and vaccination site, not to mention a distribution site for food and diapers. And beyond our community centers, we have many activities that happen in other public spaces along the Pike that contribute to its vibrancy, like urban agriculture and special events. Next slide, please. Our farmers markets, especially the Columbia Pike Farmers Market, have successfully navigated the many twists and turns of the pandemic. And soon we'll see another ag business, Area 2 Farms, coming to South Oxford Street near 4 Mile Run. And even better, it will bring 49 jobs over the next 3 years. And because of the changes to the form-based code, allowing urban ag businesses to come to the Pike, we hope to see even more in the future. Next slide, please. And despite all of the challenges in 2021, we still saw 9 special events along the Pike and nearby community, and 2022 is shaping up to be even better. Next slide. While the story of our programs can be told numerically, our preferred measure of success are the smiles of our participants. Next slide. 2021 programs were very successful with 7,500 enrollments, close to 9,000 virtual views, both virtual and in-person classes, camps, Rec on Wheels, programs in the park, specifically in and around the Pike. And 22, we plan to reintroduce camp and drop-in activities, as well as organized sports at the mill, and introduce more teen and family fitness. Next slide. We've been adding more active recreational opportunities for seniors, like the 4 new pickleball courts in 21, with the reopening of the Lover Run Community Center, outdoor fitness classes, virtual programs, nature hikes, and dancing programs. Next slide. And speaking of nature programs, in 21, your neighborhood nature center, Long Branch, offered 190 public programs, with more to come in 22. And as the weather warms, be on the lookout for our new history walking tour on the Prohibition era in Arlington with the Bootlegger's Guide to Penrose, which should be really interesting. Next slide. And through good planning and design, we continue to improve our public spaces. Over the last few slides, we'll highlight some of the plans and projects that are transforming public spaces around the Pike. So in 29, the county board adopted the update to the public spaces master plan with over 200 plus recommendations. We've been making some steady progress on the number of these recommendations. In 2020, for example, we joined the Biophilic City Network and committed to incorporating designs and programs that bring nature into the built environment. We are actively working to update right now the Forestry and Natural Resources Plan, a sub-element of the PSMP. And of course, we'd love your help with this, so please sign up for updates and feedback opportunities on our website. And we've also initiated an inventory and sustainability assessment of the county's existing natural surface trail system, which will be used to inform future public engagement, as well as we develop sound trail management policies that balance resource protection and public access. Next slide, please. In terms of recently completed projects, I would be remiss if I didn't call out Long Bridge. After years in the making, we now have a modern swimming and training facility with more than 92,000 square feet of dedicated space, specific for wellness and fun for all ages and abilities. Next slide. And looking forward to reopening Jenny Dean Park this spring with a host of recreational amenities, casual use space, public art, and more. Next slide. Another park we're excited to see finish construction this year is Towers Park. This is a great amenity for the community, only steps away from the east end of the Pike. Next slide. And later this year, we anticipate Alcova Heights Park going under construction. We are updating its picnic shelters, trails, removing invasive plants, planting more trees. Next slide. And last but not least, we're looking forward to being able to see the next step in the expansion of Penrose Square, which you saw featured in our title slide as well. As you heard, there's an interim park that will be built while it awaits master planning. And the next slide. Finally, so if you take away one thing from this presentation, is that parks are for everyone, everywhere, every day, even more so in the pandemic, and we hope to see you there soon.
Jennifer, that was great. Thank you so much. A lot of information squeezed into under 5 minutes. You have the record. Congratulations. As you saw, there are a lot of comments coming in on the chat. So if you do want to know more about what Jennifer and her team are doing, please join their breakout session here in just a few minutes. And next up is Arlington Cultural Affairs, also known as Arlington Arts, with Josh Stolbus and Deidre McWilliams. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Kim. My name is, actually, hold on, give me 1 second to get my technology together. Thank you. My name is Josh Stolbus. I'm Deputy Director for Arlington Cultural Affairs Division, and I'm here with my colleague, Deirdre Ellen, with the Public Art Unit of Cultural Affairs. And really happy to be here. And we wanted to start with showing a quick video, which is on our next slide, to give a couple highlights from the past year. You might recognize a few of these events. Hopefully, Andrea, that is embedded and ready. One of the reasons that I wanted to show that video is that frequently when we're out and talking to folks about what we do, one of the things I always hear is, I didn't realize you guys did all that stuff. And it's true, the diversity of the businesses that we're involved in through the arts is broad. And hopefully you will have seen some things that you've been out in the community and be able to experience. Many of the strategies, the way that we work, are bringing programs directly out. So you might have seen some of these things at Pike Farmers Markets, the Mill, and other locations. And if you haven't seen any of these, I encourage you to go to arlingtonarts.org and sign up to get our newsletter, which comes out every other week. And also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Even though there's a lot of different lines of business here, one of the common threads that goes throughout this is partnerships. These are the key to everything that we do, and whether that's working with artists, arts organizations, commercial businesses, the bids, and our partnership organizations, Columbia Pike Partnership being one of our key partners with some of our signature programming. And if we could skip to the next slide, I'd highlight a few things that we can look forward to this year. The Arlington Art Truck is our mobile artist and resident studio, where we have activations throughout the year, roughly from April to October, frequently in partnership with local organizations to highlight issues, this year being sustainability. Frequent locations on the Pike where you might have seen us, and we hope to see you again this year, will be along the farmers markets down at the Mill, Arlington Palooza, which I'm not 100% sure of on the status of at the moment, and then also appearing at places like, of course, the Blues Festival. Next slide, please. Columbia Pike Blues Festival. We are anxious and ready to get back to a big live in-person event this year. I've been working, or had the pleasure of working on this program since about 2016 with Columbia Pike Partnership. And I'm proud to say that every year our level of support is increased during that time period. For context, we originally used to provide a stage for this event. Now we're providing a stage, programming, marketing, and financial support as well, as really one of the key anchor public art events here in Arlington County. June 18th is the event for the festival this year. We're extremely excited. We have confirmed a really dynamic and big name headliner for our event, which I cannot release right now, but stay tuned for more information on that, and we hope to see you out there. And now, next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Deirdre to talk about some of the exciting public art projects that are in the works on the Pike.
Thanks, Josh. And a big shout out to Dennis, who's already covered the next two projects and really explained the partnership that we've had in bringing public art to the Pike. For this project, the Columbia Pike Transit Stations, the artist Spencer Finch draws inspiration from colors and moments in time. And during the winter of 2020 and 2021, members of the public helped him get to know Columbia Pike and the community by sharing a color memory they associated with Columbia Pike. This project will be delivered concurrently with the transit shelters. Next slide. This is the Pike. Artist Donald Lipsky was selected in 2013 to create a work of public art for the Western Gateway near Columbia Pike in South Jefferson. This will be installed this coming May, so super soon. We're working on the final touches of the foundation. This project explores how an object can be transformed into sculpture and its meaning changed through a whimsical combination of material and place. This will be constructed from a reclaimed 50-foot tall wind turbine wing. And as I said, this artwork will serve as a gateway. And the sculpture will be studded with thousands of coins from all over the world collected from Arlington County residents. These coins further reference the history of Columbia Pike as a toll road, while also celebrating Arlington as a diverse and culturally rich community. Residents of the Pike collected, counted, and sorted the coins, which were 4,784 coins from every continent except Antarctica. Thank you. I'll be at the arts breakout session, so if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you so much, Deirdre. Thank you, Josh. We have been working very closely with Arlington Arts through all of these activities. And as Josh mentioned, we're really looking forward to, fingers crossed, everyone toes crossed, having in-person Blues Festival this upcoming June. So stay tuned. Next up, we have Emily Cassell, who's the director of the Arlington Convention and Visitor Services. And sometimes we also like to call it Stay Arlington. Emily, welcome.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you all today. Next slide, please. ACVS is the official destination marketing organization, or DMO, for Arlington County. And our goal is really more visitors coming here, staying longer, and spending more at local businesses. So in our record year of 2019, obviously just before the pandemic, our tourism in Arlington generated nearly $3.6 billion in visitor spending and nearly $98 million in local tax revenues. So our teams work primarily focused on three areas: destination sales, marketing, and visitor services, engaging in a bunch of different ways with the audiences that you see listed here. We also collaborate often with Arlington's neighborhood partnerships like Columbia Pike, as well as with the Ballston National Landing and Roslyn bids. We've got a wonderful team. I just want to share a little bit about each person and what they do. We have destination sales, where the director of sales is Portia Connerly. She promotes Arlington around the country at different meeting and group trade events, sometimes even internationally. And she really makes sure that meeting and event planners know all about Arlington when they're considering destinations, particularly on the East Coast or in the Capital Region. She also coordinates closely with Arlington hotels, meeting venues, and attractions to make sure that attendees have excellent experiences while they're here and ideally come back again. Our marketing team is comprised of Scott Baker and Paula Fernandez, with a little help from Kara O'Donnell, who's AED's public relations manager, who has a tourism background, which is wonderful for us. The work here is advertising campaigns, the Stay Arlington website, social media. We also have a huge focus on constantly creating new content and really the compelling stories, images, and videos that show off the best of Arlington. And last but definitely not least, visitor and convention services. That's Monica Cannon and Mo Rouse. And that is their job is making sure that visitors and meeting planners have the information they need before they get here and during their trip so they can experience the best of Arlington. They also are responsible for the mobile visitor center, on-site visitor services, and distribution of all of our different Stay Arlington collateral material. So next slide, please. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, you're on the right one. You can stay on that. So Columbia Pike, obviously, we all know is a diverse and vibrant neighborhood that showcases many of the best aspects of Arlington to our visitors. So here we've got a rich history, national memorials, the Black Heritage Museum, incomparable international cuisine, and hotels, shopping, and a lot of unique local experiences. And of course, as everyone has mentioned previously, the wonderful Columbia Pike Blues Festival, which is a truly exceptional annual event that appeals to visitors. And I think we can draw more here for overnight stays. Our ACVS team meets monthly with Kim, Stephen, and Andrea, and we make sure we know about and promote the latest Pikes events, programs, and businesses to Arlington visitors. Columbia Pike is also regularly featured on the Stay Arlington website, monthly e-newsletters to leisure travelers and meeting planners, and also in Stay Arlington's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter posts. One example of a recent collaboration with Arlington's partnerships and bids is the Eat, Drink, Love campaign that ran last fall in 2021. This campaign, which was targeted at leisure travelers, reached more than 625,000 unique users, and we invited East Coast vacationers to stay in Arlington and experience our neighborhoods and our global culinary scene. It was also part of a larger Virginia tourism campaign, which really extended the exposure that we and our businesses received. Columbia Pike provided some excellent content for the website, also helped us capture some really cool video at Supreme Hot Pot that was used in some of our promotional videos. And these are just examples of opportunities that there are plenty more of that we can engage together over time. We'll also soon have some detailed economic impact highlights from this campaign that we'll be sharing in our next hospitality community e-newsletter. And on to the next slide, please. As you likely know, Arlington's hospitality has been especially hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Our abundance of business, meeting, and group travelers that made Arlington so successful through 2019 really evaporated starting in 2020, and it has resulted in dramatic losses for our hotels, restaurants, and all of our businesses who depend on visitors. We're fortunate that we are now seeing a gradual momentum toward recovery, and we really want to make sure that all of our Pike hospitality related businesses know of the many free resources that we have to help put you in front of our visitor audiences. So from blogs to partner listings and your event listings, free deals and packages listings, and 360-degree videos, we've got a lot of free ways that you can get in front of our visitor and meeting planner audiences. We also expect soon to receive a major American Rescue Plan Act grant from Virginia Tourism. This will provide $3.25 million in marketing and sales resources, and these will be specifically focused on driving overnight hotel stays and spending at our local businesses. So more to come on that in the coming months. Weeks and months, I should say. So please don't hesitate to contact me and the team. My email is here, and I really look forward to answering further questions later in the breakout session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily. We really enjoy working with Emily's team. Her and her team have really helped us get out, eat around the world here on Columbia Pike. And in a minute, we will probably drop that link into the chat where you can learn about how you can eat around the world, and more to come on that as well. So thank you so much, Emily. I also would be remiss if I did not thank my team. We are small but mighty, and they work hand in hand with the county and our partners. So Amy, Stephen, Andrea, and Hannah, thank you so much. Really appreciate all that you do. And guess what, everybody? We are 2 minutes ahead of schedule. That never happens. So everybody give yourselves a huge pat on the back. Next up, we're going to do announcements and then instructions on how to get into your breakout sessions. So first up, if something today interested you, let us know, because we are going to do a deep dive on probably 1 or 2 topics during our Pike Progress Luncheon, which will be virtual this year, Thursday, April 21st via Zoom. So stay tuned for more information on that. Next, please. At the beginning of the program, we did talk about how we cannot do this work without our partners. So if you would like to be a partner, if you would like to show your support for us and for the Columbia Pike Partnership and Columbia Pike, please order your free partner sticker today. You can go on our website to where it says how to become a partner and scroll down to the bottom. We would love to see more stickers out there. Please take pictures of them, put them up on social. More and more people can be partners. And when we do that, we all help each other. Next slide, please. All right, time for breakout. So what you'll see here is a red arrow. At the bottom of your screen, you will notice 4 little boxes. You can then go into those boxes and choose your breakout room. So there's 6 breakout rooms. If something interested you, please go to that breakout room. You may move between breakout rooms if you would like to. In order to do that, next slide, please. You'll notice at the bottom right-hand corner, there's a blue button that says leave room. There will also be a button that says exit meeting. You don't want to exit the meeting. You want to leave the room if you want to go to a different breakout room. If you're not sure where to go or you get confused, you can just leave the room and go back to the main room as well. Andrea and I will be floating throughout the breakout rooms and the main room. When you are in your breakout sessions, what's going to happen is your panelists today are going to reintroduce themselves. You're also going to have some individuals in your breakout room who are representatives from the Columbia Pike Partnership or the Pike Presidents Group. They will also introduce themselves. These individuals are going to take questions. We do ask that you use the chat function for your question. However, if you really feel like you do need to speak, raise your hand. They may or may not get to you, but this is how you raise your hand. If you look at reactions at the bottom of your screen, and then you can raise your hand. And when we wrap up our breakout rooms, which will be at approximately 4:15 or 4:20, depending on how things are going, you will get a warning that the breakout room will be closing in 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever we delineate. So this is how you leave your breakout room and return to the main page, the main room. Once everybody wraps up their breakout rooms in the main room, we will get back together. We will share highlights from each room, questions from each room, and next steps, because we really want to make this an interactive experience, a learning experience, and an experience that we reproduce every single year. All right, so now we're going to give you 2 minutes, so until about 3:58, to join your breakout rooms. If you have any problems, please come back to the main room, or you can chat Kim Klingler or Andrea Avendano. All right, go see if you can make your breakout rooms work. Good luck, and we'll see you back in a little bit. While you are waiting, let me see who I have in the main room now. Andrea, are all the breakouts now formally closed?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the main room. We have about 9 minutes left during our time together. We want to be very sensitive to your time because it is valuable, and we really appreciate you guys joining us today. What we wanted to do in this last 8 minutes is really do a summary and a wrap up. So we would like for each group to provide highlights from their breakout session, as well as any next steps. And we're actually going to start with the last presenter, just to give them time. So Emily or Stephen or Shannon, would you all like to provide some highlights and next steps from your breakout group?
I'm happy to do that.
Great.
Okay, I wouldn't say that we came away with any definite next steps, but what we did talk about was sort of the wonderful potential of the Pike as a tourism destination with anchors at, you know, the National 9/11 Pentagon Memorial and the eventual Visitor Education Center that's being planned as we speak, the Air Force Memorial, the hotels, and then a long stretch of wonderful neighborhood experiences with dining and such. So just we're talking about how we can help market that well, and also considerations around future tour bus parking needs, et cetera. And then also, I would say the other major topic was leading up to the Columbia Pike Blues Festival this year, and how creative and exciting it sounds like the planning is going, with multiple events around the festival itself that will create additional draws for tourism and potential overnight visitation. So, Stephen, did I miss anything? Would you like to add?
No, just continuing the conversation of finding a dedicated space for the Black Heritage Museum,
Yes.
because that is a tourism asset. It's more than a tourism asset. It's a historical cultural asset to Arlington that Arlington needs to support. And we just need to keep saying that as many times until people can hear it and listen and react. So definitely a gem on the Pike.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the reasons I moved away from the actual exhibits is because there are visitors right now in the Black Heritage Museum of Arlington. You can hear them in the background, so that's why I've been on mute. But there are visitors right now. The Black Heritage Museum of Arlington is open on Thursdays and on Saturdays, and also by appointment. So very good points, guys. Thank you so much. Shannon, do you have anything to add?
No, I think it was good conversation. Things like Emily has a good pulse on everything. And I have to say, you know, just with Columbia Pike Partnership, we have a lot of efforts oriented around kind of the opportunity for tourism along Columbia Pike in our neighborhoods. So I think we have a lot of room for opportunity there. So it's upward and onward, a lot of potential.
Wonderful. And forgive me, I did not introduce Shannon. She is the vice chair of our board of directors. So we are very thankful to have her. Thank you, Shannon. All right, we'll go ahead and move to Arlington Arts. Josh, Deidre, or Amy?
So I'll feel that. A lot of our conversation centered around the desire to have exhibition space, particularly around photography. We had a number of photographers in our group, and so that was one of the main areas of interest. And a lot of the discussions were about, utilizing different strategies, like from a more top-down approach to something more organic. And the general feel was that the Pike would benefit from a more organic approach in that area, and finding multiple businesses that might host photography and be an asset to those businesses and get updated, and also provide space for photographers, and how something like that, a program that, to me, that sounds like a program, that's what I do. How would that work, and how would that be funded, and what are the considerations, and all the questions you ask when you're working through, analyzing the viability of a program. And there was some discussion about like just getting in there and doing it very DIY, starting with a couple of different locations of people that are known to be receptive to this kind of partnership, and then trying to build momentum around that small nucleus. And then we also discussed some of the other resources that are available through that, or for a program like that, through grants that we have both for organizations and also individual artists who could apply for something like that. And we had at the very end a question about public art, and if Deirdre wanted to speak to that. I know she was in the middle of answering the question when we were yanked back into beamed up into the main room here. But a lot about this idea of, how can a collection of, in this case, photographers organize themselves to get out there and just make it happen in the spaces that we have, and not thinking so much about the spaces we don't have, and trying to build from there. So it was a cool conversation.
Great. Thank you so much, Josh. And it looks like Deidre and Adam will be following up separately, but we'll make sure everybody has that information as well. So we have about 4 minutes left and 3 more groups to go. Ebony and Ann, John and Steph, would you like to, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot Jennifer and Jane. My apologies. I got ahead of myself. DPR, Jennifer or Jane?
Yes, and I could certainly be brief. I assume we still have the record for the shortest presentation today.
You do, you do.
All right. So we had a robust conversation around our tree canopy conservation and our goals. Of course, I'm going to encourage everyone again to stay tuned on the Forestry and Natural Resource Plan update. This is an important sub-element of the Public Spaces Master Plan. Please get engaged. We want to hear from you. We also talked a little bit about the use of the mill for testing and vaccines. Talked a little bit about some of our programming along the Pike coming up, some trail initiatives, and also our land acquisition process as defined by our Public Spaces Master Plan.
That was great. Again, you made the record. You have the record. Next up, Ebony and Ann and John and Steph, CPHD.
Thanks, Kim. So we can also be really quick. I'll cover the housing topics super fast. So housing, it was a lot about Barcroft. So we were very fortunate. We had some special guests from Gyre Lynch who also joined our breakout room. And so Mark Hannon from Gyre Lynch was able to answer the specific Barcroft questions about how resident outreach is occurring, and then also the review of unit conditions, which is still underway as well. So thank you to them for joining us as special guests in the breakout room. It made my job very easy. I just had to flip it over to them. And Ebony, would you like to give a quick overview of the planning topics?
Absolutely. So in our room, we were very lucky to have folks who were very informed already about the form-based code. And so keeping us on our toes, love it. We discussed some updates about the Rappahannock coffee site. And just so everyone knows, that's at 2400 Columbia Pike. And what we do know is that the potential new owner is looking to and aiming to uphold the design and the building program that was just recently approved mid last year. We also had some questions about affordability along the Pike, specifically in the commercial revitalization districts. And so at that point, we were able to look at the map and kind of see the distribution spatially of where there are affordability requirements, where there are not, and kind of what are some of the potential strategies for addressing those and like bringing new elements into the form-based code. And from there, there was also a question about bike paths and grocery stores, and that I was just in the middle of answering as we were brought back to the main room. And Scotty, I just kind of wanted to say that there definitely are plans for improving the bike path and also grocery stores along the Pike. And so I'll drop a couple of links in the chat so you can see the specific projects that I'm referring to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies. Dennis, Mike, and Adam, transit, multimodal.
Sure. So I would sum it up as more details. I think we started with more detail on the West End and when punch list items were going to be resolved, more detail on transit station, what people can expect. Spent some time talking about the East End, which is the Eastern Federal Lands Project. And then the importance of ongoing robust communications. We did get a shout out for our weekly news blast on all things Columbia Pike construction, and just emphasize how important that is.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you, guys. And finally, Kelly, Tara, and Nina, AED Biz Launch.
Okay, I'm back again. We had a really great conversation about all things small business. There was question about development that was happening along the West End. Also making sure that we were doing as much as we can to retain business, even though there's a lot of development that's going on, that we have creative ideas in order to retain our businesses. We also had some questions regarding ensuring or understanding what the eligibility requirements were for relaunch. And we were like, you're in Arlington, you have a business license and you employ 50 or less, and then just come join us and help getting marketing with that. And Tally, I know you probably want to add to that.
Sure. I think one of the really interesting questions we had some questions, well, two I'll highlight. One was around commercial activity on the western end of the Pike. And I'll be reaching out to some of our colleagues in planning to talk about what plans maybe have been submitted for any commercial or mixed use activity on the western end of the Pike and what's allowed and permitted in those areas. So I'll follow up with the young lady who asked that question. And then secondly, there was a really great question that came from Zakia Worthy about what can the county do to support businesses who may be displaced by rents that are escalating? And so I think it's a really good question. First of all, our office has assisted, Tara's team has assisted with oftentimes finding relocations for businesses that may be looking for other locations or whether they're temporary or permanent. But we are not a substitute for brokers. We would encourage every business to hire a real estate broker if they're looking, but we'll do what we can to help some of that and give you some strategy. Similarly, we want to make sure all of our businesses are strategic planning for their future, thinking about sustainability. We had an excellent anecdote on the call about Daniel, I don't remember your last name, I apologize, but a business who went through the relaunch program and as a result was able to expand their business beyond just Arlington. And so now their business is more diversified, it's stronger, they're making more revenue, and that translates into more long-term sustainability. So we want to make sure that businesses are helping themselves as well and availing themselves of some of the programs that help their business grow, strategize about how to diversify and become stronger, more sustainable. So great conversation, great questions. And I think that wraps it up, I believe, Tara, unless there's anything else.
Yeah, no, you did great.
That was wonderful, guys. Andrea, could you just hit the next slide for me real quick? I would love for you guys to stay on forever. This has been a great conversation, and this is going to be a conversation that happens every February, no matter who is in charge of Pike Presidents Group or Columbia Pike Partnership or in the county. So on behalf of Adam with the Pike Presidents Group and the Columbia Pike Partnership, our board and our staff, and all of the wonderful county folks who came out and who support Columbia Pike, we thank you. And we really thank you for your support. It'll take us a few days to get recordings up. We had a few technical snafus in the beginning, but we will get the presentations out sooner versus later. Thank you so much for attending. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we hope to see you all again soon. Take care.